I see what he loves about you. You're so perfect. Hope you know that you got everything. I messed up and I'm haunted. And if I'm being honest,
joining me today here on my podcast show, the Nat Talk in Hindsight, is a distinguished media expert in the fields of media studies and also social psychology. Everyone, please welcome Mr. Mohamad Zaki. So, sir, will please briefly introduce yourself and also explain to our audience what self-esteem means.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much.
To introduce myself, my name, as introduced just now, is Mohamad Zaki. I am currently the academic department head at the School of Communication and Creative Arts. My background in terms of academic qualification is actually in psychology, in which I did my first degree, my bachelor's degree.
Where at, sir?
That was at the International Islamic University, Malaysia. So
Okay.
being at Islamic University, I also minored in Islamic Studies. And then I did my master's degree. The name of the area is Intercultural Counselling. But actually the emphasis of the program was more on social work. So my training at the postgraduate level was more in terms of how to integrate immigrants, especially coming into a new society, teaching them in terms of cultural values, how to fit in terms of the new environment that they are in. So these are the areas I was looking at in my studies. So coming to the next part of the question about self-esteem, an easy way to define self-esteem is the word self-worth. And basically it's about how worthy you think you are as a person. So that is a general concept in terms of how much positive thoughts and feelings that you have about yourself. So basically someone who has high self-esteem, they believe themselves to be very worthy, of high value, can be of different things, maybe in terms of skills, talent, intelligence, so that depends on the person.
Yeah.
So someone who struggles when it comes to self-esteem, the antithesis of self-esteem would be self-doubt, where you would doubt yourself so much and you would have a rather pessimistic view about your own self and your own abilities.
Mr. Zaki's expertise will help us break down today's episode, which is titled The Selfie Trap, Social Media, Self-Esteem, and the Female Psyche. Alright, so in this episode, we'll explore how the behavior of seeking online validation shapes female self-esteem, the psychological mechanisms behind social comparison, and also the long-term effects of digital self-curation on mental health. Are we in control of our online image, or is it controlling us instead? Let's dive in. Let's dive in for the first question. According to the users and gratifications theory, how does seeking validation and approval on social media affects female user self-esteem? And what potential risks might arise from that?
Right, I think we are in this age where social media is something which is inevitable, being part of our lives, so you cannot run away from that. So it is a tool that needs to be used for good purposes. So because of that also you cannot consider the solution when it comes to any potential challenges or negative effect of social media. Solution is to run away from it. So we have to embrace it. So in terms of seeking validation, to be fair, even before the age of social media, human beings' feelings about wanting to be validated or to have validating experience is something that
It's innate.
It is innate, it is part of human nature. It's just that in the past, probably the validation that you seek for is a praise from your parent, or like a prize, or a good comment given by your teacher. So things are like that are mostly confined to certain settings. So because of that, it is a bit more doesn't happen very often, right? But it happen only on certain situations. But now we are in the age of social media where you have an online presence which is constant and continuous.
Yeah.
So because of that, the feeling about wanting validation becomes a constant feeling also. So that adds to the stress, I would say, in terms of life today, when you are actively part of social media. So in terms of what specifically female social media users are facing, my belief is a lot of that comes from peer pressure.
Okay.
You see your friends who are popular, and one of the reasons you think they are popular is because they have a certain style, they have a certain physical attribute, physical characteristic. So you also consciously or subconsciously tell yourself, I have to be like that as well. So you try then to change yourself or to act in a certain way so that you have that validation. But validation also now comes in different forms. And when you have social media, it's not just praises from your friends in terms of oral
Like
communication,
compliments.
not just oral compliments, but the validation comes from the engagements that you have from the social media postings, the number of likes, the number of comments, the types of comments and things like that. For people who may not be as active on social media like myself, maybe I don't see that as something very important, how many likes that I have. But I can imagine how that can be stressful if you are someone who is having that kind of peer pressure. You see your friends having so many likes for a posting that she had. So you felt that why is it that my picture or my image or my posting didn't get the same high number of likes like my friend. So it does definitely have a certain effect on the psyche of the person.
Why is it important for individuals to develop a strong self-concept rather than relying solely on social media feedback? And how do fluctuating online responses influence self-perception?
Yeah, so I think there's a different layer to the question. Firstly about self-concept. In social psychology, we like to talk about multiple identities that we have, things that contributes to who we are as a person. So it's not just about our physical attributes and so on, but also our personal background in terms of our culture, religion, family values and things like that. So one of the things that I would say, maybe it sounds a bit more traditional from a certain point of view, it's good for you, for any individuals, even young people I would say especially, to have a very strong sense of identity about who you are. And that contributes to your own self-concept. What I mean by that is, if you are coming from a certain background in terms of having certain values within your culture, within your religion, keep that, right? So it's something that those are the things that should be part of your identity. You shouldn't run away from that. At the same time, in terms of how you engage with others, so you take things that are good in terms of good influence and good examples that you see from influencers, from your peers and so on. Take what is good, take what are logical or feasible for you to follow, but don't come to the point that you change yourself 360.
So a lot of young people, and especially young women, they do struggle with having a strong sense of self-esteem. Would you say that a strong sense of self-esteem comes from the maturing of our prefrontal cortex, or does it come from gaining experiences in life, having to go through a lot of trials and tribulations that later shape our character?
Interesting question. So you are jumping into the issue of nature versus nurture when it comes to your self-esteem. Is it something that we can say something innate, or is it something acquired? Maybe in terms of my own academic orientation, I believe a lot of things in our social psychology, in our behavior, is more acquired rather than innate.
Okay.
can we say that there are people who are naturally born with good self-esteem? I personally would doubt that. I don't think there is anyone who has like a certain natural disposition in terms of certain parts of his or her brain or hormonal balances within his or her system that makes him or her more confident or having higher self-esteem. I believe a lot of issues in terms of things that relates to self-concept, self-esteem, social comparison and so on comes from your learning experiences.
Question. Idealized lifestyles on social media can contribute to body image concerns such as body dysmorphia and also eating disorders. So how can individuals manage social comparison and validation-seeking behaviors to protect their self-esteem?
Yeah, I think this is something that, maybe about 10 years ago, I personally did not consider this to be a big issue. I think it was only something that affected only some small number of people. But I've seen over the last, few years where students, especially, when I see them when they come in their first year, they were quite naive and innocent in terms of their fashion and style and so on. But I've
Does
seen,
it include me?
maybe not, but then there are, and then I see after a couple of years, I see them making changes in terms of their looks and everything. Good in a sense that I can see that they have lost weight, so they have put on, they have become more stylish when it comes to fashion style and then wearing makeup and things like that. But I do wonder in terms of how much sacrifice, so to speak, or work that was done behind that, because on occasions we do get cases of students who would go off for 1 or 2 semesters because they need to get professional help. And then when I see them come back, you can see certain changes in terms of their physical looks and things like that, which means that they feel genuinely stressed about their self-presentation, so they wanted to change things. Again, the easy way to say is it's okay to change. It's okay for you to try lose weight and try to become more healthy and fit. It's good. It's something positive. But if your method is extreme to the point that it involves some form of physical harm or harming yourself, like you would vomit your food out, or you would go for extreme diets, or you would spend thousands of ringgit, tens and thousands for cosmetic procedures. So I think these are the things that some level of control needs to be there.
From a psychological perspective, how does cyberbullying and online harassment affect female users' self-image and mental well-being? How can media literacy help mitigate these effects?
Yeah, so I think this is where media literacy and media awareness campaigns and also proper suitable educational program needs to be looked into. We live in a time where, as we mentioned just now, using social media, people are concerned about the reactions to the postings that you have on social media, the comments and so on. So we should not be thinking in a careless way and saying that whatever comments that I put, they are just comments, they are just harmless comments. You may think it's harmless, but someone who reads that may take it personally. So my point of view when it comes to things like this, even though the legality of posting harsh comments may not be very clear, because if you just say I don't like you, I don't like your face, it's not a crime. It's because it's just basically hurtful, negative comments, but it's not against the law. But you ought to always consider the feelings of other people, and also tell yourself that you do not want to do unto others what you don't like others to do unto you. So I think if everyone is able to have that sense of empathy, I mean, things can be okay. And also have a certain positive mindset that is, I mean, if you can be kind, why not be kind? Even if you want to give some kind of negative comments, there are ways that you can give negative comments with constructive expressions. Right, say for example, you don't like maybe the person's presentation in terms of fashion style. You can just use a common phrase like, just my opinion, I don't think this looks nice on you, but keep it up. So just, you can mix things, words like that. So you want to be critical, you want to be honest to yourself in terms of your opinion, but you don't need to say things like, you look horrible, you look like a witch, So those things requires a bit of awareness and maybe also education.
Based on social comparison theory, how can female users separate social media feedback from their self-worth? What strategies can help maintain a healthy self-image despite online comparison?
Alright, so I think we've come to the point just now saying that social comparison is something inevitable, something which is the reality of our life today in this digital age. So you cannot run away from that. So the solution should not be that you don't compare yourself totally at all to other people. That would not be right. The more productive way when it comes to adjusting to this is to make a realistic comparison, especially if you are motivated, for example, to come to a certain ideal body type that corresponds to a certain weight level. So don't tell yourself that I need to change exactly or to become like this, transform myself to become like this, like in 6 days or in 1 week or 1 month. So be realistic in terms of what kind of personal goals that you can reach, and then use that as, I mean, it's a good thing for you to be motivated to try to become more healthy and fit. That one is fine, but not to the level that you stress yourself, that you make yourself unwell, right? Harmful to yourself, you vomit food out and things like that, or go for extreme diet. So compare yourself, I would say, to your peers first and foremost, and look into examples of success stories of people who are within your community. See how they have done that. So I think that's a more realistic comparison compared to if you want to compare yourself with someone who is like a social media influencer with 1 million followers, or celebrity in Korea or someone like that. So don't compare to that level. So compare first to the people that you know, to the people that you know that they have done some work in terms of improving themselves, their style, their body weight, and then you try to motivate yourself, try to achieve small steps as part of the longer or the bigger goal that you may have. So that's good for you to have as a way to boost your self-esteem. Definitely, I don't feel it's nice for someone to say in such a way that I'm good with my self-esteem, I'm fine with being overweight or obese all the time. So if that is the case of a certain person now, so that should not be a good feeling to have also, that you feel contented, that you feel that it's okay for you to continue to be the way you are. I think all of us should have some positive thinking in terms of how I can become better, improve yourself, and not just in terms of academic qualification or grades and things like that, but also in terms of your personality, your physical attributes and so on. So that would overall contribute to your self-esteem eventually.
Thank you for tuning in to the Nat Talk in Hindsight. So if you enjoy discussions like today's conversation, do subscribe to my channel and you'll find more videos there. Until next time, stay real, stay self-aware, and also stay empowered. Bye.
Bye bye.